video I'm going to be showing you how I've made these little junk journal tabs. But the special thing about these little tabs is they are actually a hidden paperclip junk journal tab. So when you open these up, let me pull this a little closer so you can kind of see how pretty that is. They're all floral. Oops. And it looks really pretty from the edge, I think. The special thing about these, they've been made into hidden paper clips underneath of them. So we've got this, and it's on both sides, and it comes down a little further than a normal tab would. And then it's made so you can tuck, oops, and it's made so you can tuck a little tag behind it or a little journal card. And it turns out so cute, I think. And one of the best things about these is these are removable. So when you pull it off, of course, you can put it somewhere else, where a lot of times when you have these tabs at the end, they're just permanent. You kind of glue them on, or they have a sticky adhesive to put on, and they're in one spot. So that's the great thing about these little tabs, is that. So I'm going to pull these out today, and I'm going to show you how we make them. I've used lots of different patterns with these, but all the tops are floral, as you can see, and I've got some checks and stripes and just a different bottom on it. And then I've used washi tape here in this little part right here that goes across. I've done that on both sides, and we'll show you how to do that in just a bit. So when I start off, I'm going to make just the tab part. And I sell these in my Etsy shop. It's just the tab part that you fold over, and because these are double-sided, you get two different patterns to choose from. So I think these are just so cute. And like I said, normally in our book, oh, we got one more in there. Normally in our book, you would put this on one side, you know, one side and then the other, and then it's permanently in that spot. Very cute still, but it's just kind of permanently there. So we just want to make it where it could be removable. It's got that paper clip in it, and it looks so cute, right? So to make these parts, I run this. This is the designer series set from Spellbinders, and they're just the tabs that go on the end. And the one that I use for this is this one right here. So I'll take that and I'll run it through my embossing machine. You know, I'll just lay it on there and run it through. I'm not going to go run it over right now, but just run it through, cut it out, and then you end up with this. Okay, so then these are the parts that will fold over. And that's what's going to make the top of these. So that's our top part. I'll show you how I do the rest of it. Let me move this over out of the way a little bit. I'm going to bring in my little cutter, and we are going to cut a piece of cardstock. It can be any color, the middle color. I'm just using the plain white for this, but we're going to cut this 2 inches by 2 3/4 inch long. Okay, and this is going to be the inner piece. So that's that piece, and then our second piece is going to be a pattern piece of paper like this bottom part, and it is going to be 2 inches by 2 7/8 inches, because we want it to be just a little longer because of the width of our paper clip. So I'm going to line that up there. So that's 2 inches by 2 7/8 inches, and our plain white is 2 inches by 2 3/4 inches. So now we've got those parts. And the first thing I'm going to do is take the white piece, and I'm just going to fold it over, line it up, and then I'm going to take my second pattern paper and do the same thing. Just fold it over, line it up best you can. If you got a little bit of white peeking out or a little bit behind it, it doesn't matter because we are going to end up trimming that anyway. So I'm going to use my bone folder here. Make sure those are creased well. So the next part we're going to do, I'm just going to use small paper clips for this. I've just got a few of those left in there. I'll pull one out, and this is going to go right in the middle. If you've seen my hidden paperclip tutorial for the circle little embellishments that I made, it's kind of the same way, except for this one's folded. So that's going to be our inside, and you can see where we're going with this. This is going to go on the inside and glued down, so then when it's opened, you've just got that center part there that hides that. So what we want to do next then is get this glued down. Let me bring over a piece of my glue paper, and for this first part I'm just going to use a glue stick, and the second part I'm just going to use this Tombow Mono liquid glue. And I'm going to use the glue stick just on the outside part. Oops, I'm actually going to do it on this part. And I'm going to be pretty generous with this glue because I want it to hold well. And then I'm going to use this liquid glue just on the metal part. And the reason I do this is it tends to get too wet for me to keep it. It'll make the paper kind of dry, funky, kind of wonky, and not smooth if I use all liquid glue. I mean, of course, if you are pretty good with liquid glue, you might be able to do that, but I'm not, and then this other glue holds really well. So that's what I like to use. I'm going to flatten this out real good, both sides. And it's not going to line up perfectly. I mean, no matter how many times I've tried, it just isn't, and that's okay. We've got little scissors, and we're just going to go along the edge and trim that white part off, and it's still going to be just as cute. So I'm going to do that now. Let's go along each little edge here and clip away that little bitty white part. So we just have nice smooth edges. And sometimes when we're junk journalers, we don't care about having the smooth edges, and sometimes we just hide it with ink, right? But that's okay. All right, next I'm going to use my little corner rounder on each of these corners. Little snap, snap. Okay, simple, right? And then for the top part, I'm going to bring over my little junk journal tab here, and it's going to be folded over, and I'm just going to glue it right at the top so you can see when I glue it, I'm just going to go right up to that line. So I'm only going to do this on this very edge here. Oops, I don't want to get in my glue. Come down here. And I find the stick glue works just fine for this. Line it up right at the top. This is such a simple, easy little way to do these. Okay, now to get this a little smooth, so it's not just such a end meets end here, I like to use this washi tape. And a lot of times I've found when I buy little packages of washi tape, I end up with these small little pieces, not little pieces, little rolls that I just don't do a lot with. You know, it's usually a little bit thicker, and I love doing that. So I was really happy to find a little project here that I could use this on. So I'm just going to look through here. Actually, I think this one might be kind of pretty with that. So just going to pull off. This is nice and thin. Of course, you can use the thicker washi tape. I'm just going to tape it right on that line as close as I can get it. I'll just use my scissors to trim it up. And flip it over, and I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And of course, these can be decorated up more any way that you like. I'm not putting a lot of embellishment on these just because I want to use it. I don't want my journal to be too thick. And I just want these to come up at the edge because the more embellishment you add, of course, the thicker it's going to be. So, oops, it's got a little bit more there. Okay, and I think that looks pretty good. I'll put it on the back of this. And when you first started, I kind of stick my finger in there and make sure we got it good. And that just slides right on. Isn't that cute, you guys? I just love it. I love it, I love it. So it's so cool to be able to stick different little tags and little cute things in there. Anyhow, that's all that I have for that. And I do want to show you, if you do not have one of these little cutouts, I know they make little punches. I have got one. I'm looking around me here. I've got one somewhere, but if you don't have one, let me show you real quick how you can make one. I'm just gonna, let me use the width of this because I don't remember how wide this is. So let's see, let me put a little mark here. And we'll see how long that is and cut that off. So that is at 1 3/4, I guess. That's about how long that is. So let me cut that off there. Make sure you use the right piece. Yep. Okay, so I'm just going to fold this over and I'm going to show you real quick how you can make these top tabs, or at least something similar, without having, is that about the right width? Yep. Looks pretty good. Without having a little die to cut it or a punch. You can actually use, let me grab it here. You can use a round punch and come in and trim off the edge just a little bit. I want to try to get it the same width. Let me come in a little bit more there. And then we'll come in. I'm not measuring, so these aren't going to be exact. Of course, if you can want it to measure and put you some little marks on there, it's probably going to turn out a lot better. But see how that just made a little tab, and then of course you can go right through the same process and you know, add it to the top. So anyhow, that's all for these, and I'm going to throw up some pictures of these to close out. And I just want to say thank you for coming to my channel and commenting and subscribing. I'm so thrilled with all the new friends that I'm making, and I thank you all for joining me. Y'all have a great day. Bye.